What is up, everybody? This is Lyle with No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. And I just had an interesting conversation with another prime driver. Happens to be a company driver, but wanted to ask me a question so he'd be able to pass on the right information to other people he may know that are considering going lease. And the question was, does turning down loads affect the quality or even the time of the loads that I would get in the future? Now, you know what? I'm not sure. You know, you'd heard that, if you turn down a load, or, if you turn down a certain number of loads, that either sales or the dispatcher would stop sending you loads, or stop sending you as many loads, or in effect retaliate against your decision to turn down loads. Now, I don't know. I do plan on, well, in reality, okay, so I turned down the 2 loads today. One of those loads I just wasn't going to be able to work with my hours. The next one was, like I said, those 6 drops. Now, one of the things that they had said about going lease and everything was that you would kind of have a little bit more control over your destiny, i.e. turning down loads. Now, that was a good question. It really got me thinking. And this is something that I rarely get a chance to talk to my fleet manager, but I will be calling him on Monday and hoping to get a good 4 or 5 minutes of his time to get the answer to this question, because that right there would change everything. I'm all about that Prime Inc., all that. Couldn't be happier with the working conditions, the income, all that kind of stuff. But if that is the case, I would really have to reevaluate the situation, and that's in all honesty. Like I said, there's one of the reasons I chose to come into trucking was, that banking lifestyle is some stress that's on your ass like 24/7 for the most part. You're either stressed out because you got too much business and you might have a certain number of loans that aren't going all that well, or else you're stressed out because you don't have enough business. But that constant stress, is just a little bit much. So one of the reasons I came into trucking was less stress. Now, there's obviously stress in trucking, but it's like, okay, you make it through this little stressful moment, then it's over. You're not sitting here thinking about, man, whoo, them Shasta Mountains in the wintertime, boy. You're not sitting there stressing out about it the next day. So, what I wanted, one of the things I liked about my decision to turn down this last load was it was a situation that alleviated stress from me. So if I'm not able to exercise that, then maybe that's not worth it. Now, I just got off the phone with him, and I really haven't had a chance to formulate my opinions on this, but I really wanted to do a video on this, more so I could look back on it, because I actually got woke up by this phone call. Maybe look back on this video before I call my fleet manager and go over all this kind of stuff. But one of the things I keep telling people, and this is more of a life life advice more so than trucking advice, is put yourself in a position where it doesn't matter. You could do without. So, put yourself in a position where you can walk. You know what I mean? If things aren't working out, it's not like, I've worked several jobs or know several people that don't necessarily like their job but aren't in a position to walk. And I'm glad to not be in that situation where I'm trapped or anything. Not that I would ever want to leave Prime. Like I'd stated in videos earlier, I got a 5-year plan once my truck comes in, and those entire 5 years I would want to be a Prime. I have no illusions of or no motivation to leave and go to some other trucking company. As a matter of fact, I think I said this would be the last trucking job that I ever had, and that, hopefully that is still the case. But I never even thought about that retaliation aspect of it, and don't know if it's true or not. I do know people that have turned down loads for, I hear about it all the time for money reasons and stuff like that. Next thing I know, they're telling me that they got a load with less miles and more money on it. So if I'm saying I don't really focus as much on the money as much as I do, where I'm going, the stress levels. If I know I'm going to a place that's going to be, a bad experience, then, I don't mean I'm not going to take the load, but those are things that I factor in more than money. So, I don't really mean to be rambling on. Sometimes I just want to I make these videos almost for myself to document things, so when I go back and ask, like Monday when I have call my fleet manager, I'm going to watch this again and make sure I'm kind of hitting the points that I'm trying to make. But if any of you guys happen to be lease operators at Prime and think that that is the case, please leave it in the comments below. Like I said, the money is one thing. I could live on less. It's not necessarily, I think I made a comment in an earlier video where I said this little bit of money in trucking. And what I'm saying is, it's not that the money in trucking is little, because I said that a couple times, and people, luckily it's people that I knew that had called and asked me about it. But I think I'd said this little bit of money in trucking isn't, I forgot what it was in response to, but it's not that this money is insignificant. It's that the money that I make in trucking is not the money that, it's not the real money. The money I make in trucking is going, whether it's, investing in real estate or investing in something else, this money is, that, I guess that's what I'm saying is, the money I'm making in trucking is not necessarily what I look at in terms of what I'm gonna retire on or where I'm gonna make my money and stuff like that. I'm so non-focused on the money sometimes is that when it's payday, I barely even look at my settlement statement. I'll do like the little macro to break it down into 5 or 6 lines, and if it reconciles with what I had in my head, then I'm fine with that. I'm not gonna go spending 30 minutes of my life trying to decipher a settlement statement when it's right about where I made. And to be honest with you, I don't know. I guess I got to figure that out. Figure out if they retaliate, and if they retaliate, sometimes I'm telling people that I actually get loads too quick and stuff like that. Maybe if that slows that down, I don't know. Maybe that wouldn't be an entirely bad thing, but it would definitely be one of those situations where if that was the case, it would really change my thoughts on the process, I guess you could say. Anyway, just wanted to kind of share that with you and for the future me when I make this call to my fleet manager, just so we can get on the same page. This would have been a conversation I wanted to have earlier, but one thing I can tell you about my fleet manager is that seems to be different than other people I talk to, is they'll have these like long ass conversations with their fleet manager, like 35 minutes on the phone going over this and going over that, and I'm like, man, I don't think I spoke with my fleet manager for 35 minutes in total. And I think it's because he's that much of a hustler that he just doesn't have that much time to spend on the phone. But this is a conversation that is going to be a must-have. Anyway, just wanted to come on here with that. If you know the answer to it, leave it in the comments below, and we'll go from there.